I want to do a follow-up on my talks about being a targeted individual. Since my last video, information has been presented to me through unreliable channels, suggesting that some of the people who scammed me and harassed me in the US may belong to wealthy royal families in the Middle East. I cannot confirm whether this is true, but from what they look like, it could be true. And it would explain how some of the harassment I experienced over more than 30 years were organized and financed. The man I was involved with had American citizenship and said he had an Italian background. He blended in completely with the ordinary church communities, and there were no obvious signs pointing towards a traditional Middle Eastern background. I started receiving information and seeing repeated content related to Middle Eastern culture in my algorithms. Looking back, I can see that there were certain situations that seemed very odd that were actually traditions from the Middle East. Throughout the years, I have also met people whom I can see now have been connected to the same family networks, but they appeared as completely ordinary people. When the fathers marry many wives from different countries throughout his life, even brothers do not necessarily look alike, have the same skin color, or appear connected in any obvious way. At some point, I was in a minivan with quite a few of the sheikhs without knowing who they were, and I had a conversation with my master telling me to be patient at my destination and wait for the military to show up and get me out of there. The sheikhs overheard the conversation, and at this point, if they did not already know, they must have known by then that terrorism was a problem in my life. The person behind the attacks could very possibly have been in the minivan. But this conversation was staged, and my master wanted them to know that. I still did not receive an explanation for why I was targeted, stalked, harassed, and spread lies about for so many years in the royal houses out there. What hurt me deeply was the feeling that very private and intimate details about my life had either been shared widely through rumors, accusations, or was false or heavily exaggerated. Yet they still affected how people viewed me and made them create hate crimes against me. I have defended myself publicly because I wanted my side of the story to exist too. And I received confirmation saying that now I see both sides of the story. I don't know why they would still believe and be defending the person spreading all of these lies and trying to end me for 30 years. They enabled a person with money for 33 years to stalk me and harass me. It should not take anything else to realize it should have stopped a long, long time ago. You have to understand that their side of the story includes a terrorist who actually managed to sabotage one bus I was on. Luckily, no one got hurt. Another time they stopped in the middle of the night in the mountains and pulled a man out from under the bus and ended him in front of 100 passengers. There was many more threats on buses and flights, and the military was always there clearing the means of transportation with dogs and in other ways. But honestly, revisiting these experiences is exhausting and re-traumatizing. I survived extremely difficult situations over the years, and at this point in my life, I no longer want to invest more energy into these people, their networks, or the search for explanations. All along, I have been encouraged to travel as much as I would have anyways, and live life as planned and never let my life be dictated by a terrorist and all the people they bribed to sabotage my life or charm their way into doing the same. Perhaps it was a twisted expression of male Muslim dominance. Although I was out of their lives since 1997. I had no idea this was not related back to the US, although a lot of Americans, people from my own country, and possibly people from many other nations were involved in sabotaging my life and trying to end it in all of these 33 years. It never even crossed my mind that this could originate from the Middle East. There has been so many people around me risking their lives too, and for me to be able to have some kind of life, no matter how scared I am, life just must go on. It does not seem like I can expect justice through trials or compensation. All the people without diplomatic immunity could still face trial for the role they played in trying to end me. My original case is not even outdated. I understand that powerful people often play it as dirty as they can to avoid public responsibility in order to protect their image. What I hope for now is simply peace and for the harassment and stalking to finally stop after all of these years. They were the stalkers and the ones wanting something from me. It's the richest people in the world, and this time they got my side of the story, even though they are not entitled to it. I received nothing else but hardcore harassment from them, and it's just business as usual from their side. They have spread rumors in my own country about me having to marry a rich man last year. It was only just mockery to turn people against me so that I basically lost my networks, and it's the third time in 20 years that they have managed to spread this exact same rumor and destroy my networks. They know I don't like provider types, and I don't let other people make decisions in my life. And that's why they took my money back then and humiliated me to be dependent on a man who starved me and tried to end me. And that's exactly why I don't trust anyone with money. I don't want to give them anything else or invest my time or energy in them. There is no excuse for what has happened to me and how they have abused me over all of these years, as well as many nations in the rest of the world has also been affected because of the scams they played off. In the West, we educate people in the culture of their host country if they are expatriated. I mean, it's a huge scandal too that they basically kept me hostage over there for almost 6 weeks. As a peer supporter, I share these experiences because I know what it feels like to live through fear, confusion, gaslighting, stalking, and long-term psychological harassment. Even when the evidence is unclear or difficult to prove, the emotional impact on the person experiencing it is still very real.